Haim Singh, and I'll tell you a little about climate change and particularly the impact on animals. So for starters, we've got to understand what climate change is. We probably all have an idea where it's climate change, how our actions are affecting the world, but we're not the only people on the world, there's animals. Climate change is the patterns, everything that we do from fossil fuel burning. Some parts of the meat industry cause a lot of methane gas, the shifts in temperature, the weather, and everything like that. It's all part of climate change. Deforestation is another big thing, but I don't think I'm the only person that's going to be talking about climate change today. Global warming is one of the bigger things in the wide variety of things that affect climate change. This is particularly how the Earth is getting hotter, how the carbon dioxide is increasing, and other greenhouse gases are also becoming more prevalent in our atmosphere. The ecosystem changes from climate change, but everything in it for inspired diversity and habitats for other animals are affected by our actions. You can talk about with how much we have been growing as society and everything that we do, it increases how much natural disasters are happening overall. We've seen in the past few years the amount of wildfires in the west side of the states in California and parts of Canada have been having wildfires. And just from deforestation on our end for making resources, forests have been being destroyed. That's not for one example that I want to talk about specifically, polar bears are a keystone species in the Arctic. Keystone meaning that we could look at them to show how well the ecosystem is going, specifically in the Arctic. From the world getting hotter, we have lost a lot of the ice on both poles, and ice is something that's really important for polar bears. Everything that they do besides swimming is on land. So they eat, they reproduce, everything that they do is reliant on the ice and the poles. And with everything heating up, they have struggled to get this ice, to get sturdy ice for them to stand on and everything. And we've gotten information, this is a infographic from NASA. Since 1978, the ice in the Arctic has been shrinking by around 12% every decade. And this has only been getting smaller, and we have not gotten a lot of growth back. Another example that I want to talk about was coral reefs. And they may not look like it, but they are actually a group of animals that work together and create this structure. With coral reefs, they're also another important species because a lot of the things in the warm oceans and sea oceans, they rely on coral reefs for food, for shelter, for anything like that. They rely on these, and some parts we also rely on. Coral bleaching is something that has been happening because of humans, where the pH in water has been getting harder for these creatures to live in. And they have a symbiotic relationship with algae, a lot of the plants in the water. They help, coral reefs give algae a place to live. Algae, in return, helps strengthen coral reefs, give them stronger resistances against other things. And when the pH is really hard for algae to live in, corals start bleaching and they lose algae and they require this a lot. This impacts marine biodiversity. The National Ocean Atmosphere Administration shows that coral reefs are home to a quarter of the marine species around the world, and the ecosystem that they produce is so important that this impact of losing coral reefs and weakening them is going to affect us in the long run, where a lot of places that rely on fishing and agriculture that we would eat from the sea happens to be important to coral reefs. And also, I learned to study this, that coral reefs, the stronger they are, help secure our seaside coasts and villages from hurricanes. Yeah, so with long-term coral reefs, if we don't help coral reefs or if we don't help the ocean get better, We'll have reduced fishing, diminished coast protection from storms, and this could lead to a collapse in just how marine biology and the food web in the ocean works. Yeah.